Hello everyone, welcome to the Mercury Virtual. Hope you are doing good. Today I am going to continue with your same module, that is Office Solution Development, and the same chapter, that is Office Solution Development. In the last class we have discussed about the topic, that is code behind a document, that is used with the Word, Excel as well as the both Word and the Excel. Today I am going to continue with the same topic, that is code behind a document, but how to use the hidden code or how to use the code behind a document within the Excel. So let's start with the previous class session, what we have covered in the last class. Then move to the next topic, that is today's topic, that is how to use in the Excel. So in the last class we have started with the code behind a document that is supported by the VSTO, that is used by the document that requires a developer to use the class. Applicable for the document that is uses the document that use the classes that is generated in the VSTO project. So we have discussed how to use the code behind a document in the Excel format, in the Word format. Today I'm going to discuss with you how to use in the Excel format. So there is a VSTO project that have a pre-hook context in the pre-hook of content that is available, and these classes are sometimes known as the code behind classes because they are code, or there is a code that is associated with the particular document or the worksheet. So whatever the document, whatever the field that is available in the either document or the worksheet. In MS Word, there is only one word that is used behind the code that is corresponding to the document. So when we use the MS Word, there is only one hidden code that is used in this, the document that is behind the class. And in Excel, there are multiple code that is used behind the classes, one for the workbook and one for each worksheet. So there are multiple code that is defined in this one for the workbook and one for the worksheet and or the chart sheet in the workbook. So that may be available for the workbook, that may be available for the chart sheet or the worksheet, right? And the time you code runs or your code runs in a VSTO code behind the document project is when Office raises a startup event handled by any of the code. So it is handled by any of the code that is used behind the classes that is created for you. And VSTO also provides the classes, also provide the context via the base class. So this is the available as a code that is used, how to use the VSTO code that is used behind the Excel sheet, behind the worksheet. So this is the message box dot show, then string format, 0 is the sheet name. So this is available as a 0 is the sheet name, then this dot name. So this is a message box dot show that is used with this one. There is a string format that is available. This is saying that 0 is the sheet name, then this dot name. And by using this dot name, you are referring to the name property of the Excel worksheet that is inherited from the base class. So whatever the base class that is available, that is we can inherit the content, we can use the content with the help of the VSTO class. And listing 2.6 also shows a VSTO code that is used behind the class for an Excel worksheet. So this is the listing 2.6, that is how to use the Excel worksheet environment, and this is a code that is a VSTO code behind a document in Excel, that is how to use. And this is a listing, that is a code that is available how to use in this one, that is how to use the code behind the class for an Excel worksheet. In addition to the startup and the shutdown event, so there is a startup event also, there is a shutdown event also in the class, behind the class. There is also a generated method known as the internal startup. You should not put any of the code in the internal startup because it is auto generated by the VSTO. So this code is auto generated by the VSTO, and modifying it can break Visual Studio support for the code behind the classes. So whatever the code, whatever the target we are referring, and there is a reference to the code that is used behind the classes. Instead, your startup code should go in the startup event handler, and VSTO code also used behind the class or behind the document class. Also use the partial classes to hide some additional code generated event by the VSTO. So whatever the code generated event that is available in the VSTO, that is used with the VSTO, and this is the code that is available with this one, that is a VSTO Excel workbook customization. So these are the header file that is defined over here. These are the some header files that is defined. So first is using the system, the same header file that is available. Then this is the using system.data, that is using the system.data, that is also the header file that is used, that is use the data from the system or for the system. Then system.drawing, that the drawing object will be available for the system. Then using system.windows.form, so we are using the windows form, or we are using the windows.form that is available in the VSTO code for the Excel. Then using Microsoft.Visual Studio.tool, that is we are using the Visual Studio tool. Then Excel, which Excel is used, that is a Microsoft Office.introp.excel. Then there is Office, that is a Microsoft Office.co. So this is available as this one, that is used with the Excel code, that is used with the Excel environment. This is the code that is available. These are the header file that is used to customize the workbook environment. Then there is a namespace Excel workbook. So this is the Excel, or this is the function that is defined over here. There is a public class that is declared, that is a partial class sheet 1. Then there is a private void sheet 1 startup. Then there is a object sender and event args e. So there is a event args e that is used with event handler. So there is the event argument that is used with the e. So the return type, or we can say the object that is used is the e, and the class, but the function has a return type void, and that is of the private class, right? So there is the initial entry point that is used. This code gets run first when the code behind it's created. The context is implicit in the sheet 1 class. Then message box dot show, that is a code behind the document running. So this is printed over on the screen. That is done by the message box dot show, that is the code behind the document running. So this is available as it is on the screen, that is a code behind the document running. Then message box dot show, that is a string dot format. Then 0 is the sheet name. This is also available as like this one, that 0 is the sheet name, then this dot name. That is also used. So that is also printed with the help of the message box dot show. Then private void sheet 1 shutdown. So this is the startup event that is available. We are going to start with these events or these examples. Then next is the shutdown event, that is for the shutdown event. So there are two argument again, that is the object center, then event args e. Then there is a reason, and that is VSTO designer generated code. So there is a VSTO designer generated code that is used within this one. This is a summary that is available. Then required method for designer support that do not modify. So this is all only we can say the this is the comment that is available with this one. So that was made the impact on the coding, but this is the comment that is used for the user friendliness. Then there is a public void internal startup. So this is also a function that is defined, that is the internal startup function is used. Then this dot startup plus equals to new system dot event handler, that is the event handler is used for handling the event if there is any event that occurs, that is a sheet 1 underscore startup. So there is one event that is available for making this code running, that is a startup event. By use of this startup event, this code will be executed. Then there is a event handler sheet 1 shutdown. With the help of shutdown event, this code will execute. This is the end of the reason. Then there are two curly braces, that is open, that is close over here, one for this one for this one. This is the code that is used, that is a VSTO Excel workbook customization code that is used in this one. The next is the VSTO code behind a document in the Excel. Now how to use the VSTO code, that is a hidden code that is used in the Excel. So this is a VSTO code that is used behind a document in the Excel. So in this section we create some simple code that is used behind a document in Excel using the VSTO environment. First start up the VSTO code, then choose the file, the same operation. So first start up the VSTO file, then choose the project operations and go to the office, and there are the various templates. First of all, when we use the Outlook, then we use the Outlook add-in, and in this case we have to use the Excel workbook because we are going to make the code for the Excel. So there is a go to the file, then there is a new, then there is a project item menu item that is available, and then go to the navigate to the office node under the Visual C# root. Like this one, there is a Visual Studio that is used, that is the Excel workbook, there is a Visual C# node, go to the office, and there is Excel workbook environment. We will create an Excel workbook project using the C#. That's why we are going into the Visual C#. And if you already have a workbook that you want to add VSTO customization, that is use the code behind, you can specify its location in the dialog box that is shown in the 2.8. So you can also use the dialog box that is also used for the variable that is also used for the testing variable that is used in the VSTO customization code behind, and you can also specify the location in the dialog box. So you can also specify the location, you can also specify the name that is used with this one. So this is the location, then there is a then this is a location, then this is a next part, that is a after the location there is a next part, that is a solution, that is used to create a new solution. Then this is a solution name, that is the Excel workbook 1. So this is the first of all select on the or go to the this one, that is a Visual C Sharp. Then there is a office, then go to the Visual Studio install template, then click on the Excel workbook, then give the name of the new project that you want to give. Then there is a Excel workbook 1. Then there is a location, then add the location like C drive, so you give the location where you want to store the data. Then there is a solution, then create a new solution, then create directory. So everything is available in this dialog box. So first of all we have to click on the file, then new project. When you click on the new project, this dialog box will be open. So this is a dialog box in which we can create the project that is managed by the or behind the new existing Excel 2003 workbook that is used with the Excel 3003 workbook that is used with Excel available. This is the using the new project dialog box to create an Excel workbook project. So this is the Excel workbook project that is available in this one. Then there is a Visual Studio tools for the Office project wizard. So there is the next wizard that is used for the Office tool, that is used for the Office tool environment, that is the Visual Studio tools for the Office project wizard, that is the Excel workbook 1. So this is select a document for your application. You can choose to create a new document by for your application or use an existing one. So either you can create the new document, or either you can select the existing one that is available for the verification. So what kind of document do you want to use? So this is the question that is available, that is what kind of document that you want to use. The first is create a new product or create a new document, then copy an existing document. So first part is creating a new document that is available over here. So the first is if you want to create a new document, you give the name of the new document. If you want to copy the existing document, then you can browse that document or give the path over here. When you browse, click on the open button, then automatically the path will be available on this one. This says click OK to add the document to your project. Either you can use the new document, either you can use the existing document. If you use a new document, you have to give the name. For example, you have created the name over here, you have to give the name over here. And if you want the existing document that is available, you have to browse and you have to give the path of the existing document. So selecting the workbook to associate with the code behind, this is available, that is used as a code that is used as a code that is available in this one. So selecting the workbook to associate the code behind. After we have created the project, the designer view appears. So after making this view, the designer view appears as shown in this one. So this is the designer view that is used with this one. This is the Excel workbook 1 because we have created a new document. This is the Excel workbook 1, then Visual Studio or Microsoft Visual Studio. This is the workbook that is available over here. There are 3 sheets, sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3. This is the Excel workbook. The extension is .xls because we are using the 3 environment or 3 version, that is Excel 2003. But if we are using the 7 environment, 7 version, then the extension is .xlsx. This is the design view for the VSTO Excel code behind. So notice a few interesting things in the figure 2.9. The first is the Excel is running inside the Visual Studio 2005. So Excel is running in the Visual Studio 2005 or any version you can take, but the main role is that it is available in the Visual Studio, just the same as a Windows Frame Designer. So this is same as a Windows Frame Designer that is used in this one. So this is the diagram that shows how to use the designers, how to create the project that is available in this one. So after we have created this one, the designer view appears. This is the designer view that is appear with the user, that is how to view the presentation or how to view the Visual Studio slide, that is Excel workbook 1. So notice a few interesting things in this one. The first of all, Excel is running inside the Visual Studio. This is Excel workbook and this is the Visual Studio. So this is one of the interesting fact that Visual Studio or Excel is running inside the Visual Studio 2005 as a designer, just the same as Windows Form Designer would when developing a Windows Form project. So whenever we develop the Windows Form project, that is developed using a Windows Form project. Second, look at the menu bar shown in the figure 210. So look at the menu bar that is available in the figure 210. There is a menu bar, there is a tool menu that is used with the Microsoft Office Excel tools, that is a spelling, research, error checking, speech, track changes. VSTO merges the Visual Studio menu, that is a build, debug and so on. So there are multiple menus that is merged with the VSTO, that is merged with the merged by the VSTO, that is managed in the VSTO contents. So that is used by the VSTO, that includes the format and data and so on together. Menu item that appears in the Visual Studio and Excel, that is the tools, for example, merged by adding the some menus of the available discount, that is some menus of the available data, such as a Microsoft Office or Excel tools that can be selected to see the Excel tools menu. So this is used with the Excel tools menu, that is appear as Excel tool menu. So it's a tool, then Microsoft Office Excel tool, there is a spelling, research, error checking, speech, etc. Then attached to a process, this is connect to a process, connect to a database, that is used with this one. This is the merging of the Visual Studio and the Excel menus. Now, third notice in figure 2.9 or 2.9 that the toolbox contains a new category, that is the Excel control. So there is a new category that is used, that is known as the Excel controls. This is the Excel control that is available over here. So that will controls the Excel environment or Excel phases. So that is when designing a document using Visual Studio, you can create the name ranges and the list objects using the Excel menu items that is familiar to the Excel user, that is used to create the named ranges, and the list object that is used with the Excel item that is familiar to the Excel user, or the toolbox idiom familiar to the Visual Studio user. So whatever the name range that you are using, that is used with the create name range, and the list object that is using the Excel menu items that is familiar to the Excel user or the toolbox idioms. Now, next category that is noticed that the properties window shows the properties of the selected object in that case. So there is a properties window that is available. This shows the selected piece, that is Excel workbook that is selected. So this shows that how the selected menu will appear. So VSTO also merges the Visual Studio menu, that is a build, debug and so on, and the data also. So this is a property of the selected object, in this case sheet 1. You can also use the properties window to edit the properties of the Excel workbook. The same way you can edit the properties of the controls and forms in the window form project. So whatever the form object, whatever the window that is available, that is used with the edit properties of the controls and forms in the window form project. Now fifth, notice that the Solution Explorer had 4 classes in it already. So there are 4 classes in it already, that is already available in this one, that is a Solution Explorer. There is a 4 classes. These are the 4 classes, like sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3 and the sheet 4. So there are 4 classes that is available in this one. Each underlying Excel worksheet and workbook object is represented by the .NET class that you can extend and customize. So everything is represented with the .NET class that you can customize, or you can make the data available with the customization that is used with the .NET class. As you make changes to the document in the designer view, the code behind the updates automatically. So whatever the code that is used behind updates automatically. For example, drag a list object from the toolbox onto the sheet 1 designer and drag it to be 10 rows and by column as figure 211. So this is a figure that shows how to create a column list, that is how to create a column list. Simply drag the content with this one. Right. This I'm going to discuss in the next class, that is how to use the, or what is the main code that is used in this one, that is how to make the customization code that is available in this one. Because tomorrow is a new year, so let's celebrate the new year together with this study. So there will be a class on tomorrow. So tomorrow there will be a class, that is the class of this office solution development. So there is no holiday for tomorrow. There will be, as per the schedule, the class will be going on for the tomorrow, that is a new year, and we'll be taking this topic in the new year class. All right, so that's all for today's session. If there is any doubts, you can ask the doubts from me, and any suggestions you can ask the doubts from me, give the suggestions to me regarding